Has the United States weakened foreign policy and emboldened sinister forces around the world, like the ones that blasted the Flight MH Malaysian jet on 17 out of the sky, killing all 298 people on board? Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters has less than 24 hours to think about that, but I want to get your point of view. Colonel, first off, is there anything we didn't do that allowed something like this to happen?
Oh, sure, of course. Our president didn't do anything. Nothing meaningful. Now, I'm glad he put more sanctions on Putin this week, but they're too little, too late. And our president's tendency to see everything through politics, the lens of politics, whether or not how it will affect his base, for instance, has driven our foreign policy utterly into the ground and under the ground. He sees yesterday his shameful lack of attention to the downing of the Malaysian airliner is basically because he knows by confronting Putin strongly, he gets no points with his base. It doesn't bring him an advantage. No, he's not worried about the United States, but what's in it for him? And so we see Putin behaving utterly lawlessly, Brian, and nothing happens. Why on earth shouldn't Putin behave that way? And by the way, we're hearing a false debate in the media about, well, was a missile fired by the separatists or was it fired from Russian soil? Who gave the order? Whether the missile was fired from inside Russia or from the separatists, it was the missile system, which is not a PlayStation, it's complex to run this thing. It was operated by Russian military trained personnel, probably Russian military personnel in uniform, whether in eastern Ukraine or within Russia. And nothing happens. We've known this is going on. And by the way, another point, I guarantee you, as a former intel officer, we were tracking this. We know when the missile was fired, where it was fired from, who fired it, the call sign of the guy, the whole works. The question is, will our president reveal what we know to the world and call Putin out?
So, Colonel, how about this? Give me 3 bullet points that you think define bold action.
Bold action. Clear speech, a la Ronald Reagan, backed up by firm action and with follow-through. You need all 3. A clear vision articulated. Right. You need to act upon that vision, and you can't let up. It's like as the way Obama did in Libya. Okay, you get rid of Gaddafi, then you go home. I mean, nothing happens. So you've got to have those 3 things. You've got to have your eye down the fairway, you got to hit that ball hard, and you got to have the follow-through in your swing. Because
the Ukrainian president he's reaffirmed connections to the European Union and to the West. He has not bowed to Russian pressure. Then he took his military and started pushing into eastern Ukraine. In the Russians' mindset, that they had this coming. It was their action that prompted this action.
Yeah, and it's just shameful. The truth is the West doesn't care about Ukraine. They just don't. And when's the last time you heard anybody in Washington or a European capital say Putin must give Crimea back to Ukraine?
None.
We've already forgotten about it. And the point is, Putin has invaded eastern Ukraine. These are Russian thugs, Russian mercenaries, Russian officers in other uniforms, Russian technicians. At the end of the day, Vladimir Putin is responsible for the downing of this airliner.
And if we gave the Ukrainian government arms instead of lunch, it might have helped. And that might have been the bold message that would have prompted Vladimir Putin to step back and said, I can't take the risk.
Yeah, actually, my approach would be much more direct. Brutal sanctions on Putin. Because arms are all well and good, but the Ukrainian military can't defeat the Russian military in an invasion. But we can defeat Russia economically. Yep. And so, Obama is right that the military is not the answer to every problem. The problem is he doesn't believe the military is ever the answer to any problem.
Colonel, you're 100% right. Always great to get your perspective, especially something unfolding. Colonel Ralph Peters, thank you.
Thank you.
19 minutes after the hour, straight ahead.